Welcome back to Clubhouse Chronicles, the place where the Central Illinois music scene gets loud, proud, and unfiltered. I'm Twit, your host with the most, ready to spin you the stories, the sounds, and the struggles behind the bands that are making waves right here in your backyard. Clubhouse Chronicles is the official podcast of Broken Record Music Club, your favorite independent record label, bringing you music for whatever you are going through. With that, let's buckle on up because this isn't just a podcast. It's a front row ticket to the heart of your indie music scene. Today, we're sitting with a up-and-coming band that I'm super excited about, and you should be super excited about. Fresh off a name change, fresh off their first single, we're sitting with West Nevada out of Champaign-Urbana, sitting with Hunter, Chaz, Jake, and Austin. And for those of you watching and or listening, Austin, you would recognize as Austin Corley. He was one of our first episodes back in the day. But welcome back, Austin. Welcome, everyone else. Thanks for being here. I'm excited to talk with you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Very happy to be here. It's unfortunate our buddy Jake is not here, but he was with us in spirit.
Yeah, I can almost hear him. I can almost see him.
Yeah, he doesn't have as cool lighting as us. But
I think he's in a basement though. Are you in a basement?
Yeah. Hey, basement.
It's great to think alike. You guys are kind of synced up at least. Well, ever since I heard anything, I've just like can't stop listening to it. And man, I was just like, God, I got to talk to West Nevada and I got to get to the bottom of everything about this song and what's coming and all that, which we'll get to. But I kind of wanted to start from the beginning. West Nevada is a newer band, but they went through a name change. So before it was the Treehouse, the band, or something like that.
So it was called TTVTB, or Treehouse, the Venue, the band. I kind of came up with that on the whim as a joke. It's actually kind of a reference to Nirvana, the band, the show, which they just had a movie that came out recently. But I just thought that name was silly, and originally it was me, Matt, another person that helped with Treehouse, and Chat, and it was a joke band, so a joke name was very fitting. And we loved our joke name, but Hunter could never say it correctly.
I said it correctly every time. You got the grace. You guys are lying. You're lying. Yeah. I practiced it.
And to be honest, I mean, every time a person would come up, they'd be like, "We love TDB." And
yeah, it's bad. It's bad to promo that name because you have to say it 3 times before they're like, okay, I understand what that means now. You can't with West Nevada, like, oh, West Nevada, like, oh, cool, West Nevada. But with TTBTB, you have to repeat it. Then you have to say what it stands for. I say it right all the time. You have to repeat it. You have to say what it stands for, and then they seem iffy. They're like, oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, I like making my life really hard. So something like TTBTB, that is an example.
But it looks cool in logo form, like when it's scratched out the initials, but everything else, yeah, sucks.
Okay. It sucks. It's just not ideal. It's just not ideal for when we blow up.
Yeah, when we blow up.
When. Keyword when.
You always got to be plotting for that viral moment.
Well, and I do find it funny that you mentioned how much you love Anything, because Anything started.
It was the first riff we ever wrote.
Yeah,
together as a band.
It actually was written by Matt, our friend that was the guitarist at first, and it's just really cool to see it evolve because Jake eventually just started showing up to practices, and then Matt was like,
pretty much.
I don't know about this, and he didn't have time, so he just kind of dropped out, and Jake took over since. And then I had known Hunter, but we needed a singer because I was like trying to sing while playing the drums. I tried to play like subliminal while singing while playing the drums, not possible. But getting Hunter on board, he immediately heard Anything and just kept building on top of it. And he brings so much in terms of vocals and like style that like we're all come from very unique backgrounds, but we're very united in music. And I feel like while we're united, we just keep changing our genre. It's something we keep talking about internally, like what we were at the beginning versus what we are now, and we just kind of want to find our place. But I think Anything is a great representation of kind of who we are, just fundamentally, because it's it's just a,
It's our beginning.
yeah, it's a fun song.
Started.
And it's comes from friendship. It comes from something even before we all four got together, and we've been able to turn it into something really good.
Yeah, you kind of just talked about how it kind of just rolled together. Like the Treehouse, the venue, the band. Obviously, a good amount of you are involved with the Treehouse, the DIY venue in Champaign-Urbana. Was that kind of the melting pot that got everyone kind of intertwined with the band, the project, and at the start?
Honestly, what started it, in my opinion, was I was a big show goer at the Mirror, the Cosmo, Echo Chamber, Powder Room, all the early venues when I came into the scene. And I got invited to the Treehouse by a close friend of mine. And when I showed up at the Treehouse, I think it was the first show you ever threw at the Treehouse. And I had networked with Austin at the back door. I was like, hey, man, I'm a bass player. I want to start getting into a band. I want to make a band. We got tight. He looked over at Matt, and you were like, hey, you play guitar. So, and then it just kind of went from there. And like I said, I met Jake through the shows. I met you through Austin. And it's just kind of networked into the four of us. But where it started was just one of us saying, hey, we want to be in a band. And it just went from there.
I actually do want to ask kind of Jake what his perspective is on the beginning, because like I was talking to Chaz recently about this, and I just remember it was like Matt, it was me, him, and Matt, and then Jake pulled up for like a practice and was just hanging out with us, and then was jamming with us, and then the next practice he was there, and then the next practice he was there, and then we became a band, and it was just so cool because like I didn't know Jake that much before. Like I knew him through Treehouse because he was friends with Dugan, and we just all became closer. But like, yeah, I wanted to know what did you think of the beginning, Jake?
I mean, that's basically what it was. Really, it was. I just kind of just started showing up. I'm like, hey, these guys are pretty cool. I think they're like, hey, kind of my friends at this point. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll hang out with them. I don't have anyone else to go, jam out, play music with. I mean, in a not formal sense. I mean, my degree is music, so I play a lot of other instruments too, but not anything, guitar related to that aspect. I just kind of started showing up, and it was like after two or three times showing up, then Matt's like, hey guys, I'm just kind of busy. I can't do this. And then it was just me. And and then it was me and Chaz and Austin. There was that. And that's what it was.
And then yeah, I would like to hear your perspective as well, because I do remember like inviting you to just like it was kind of like a trial run, but immediately you're like
Yeah. So I kind of got to the scene by kind of how Chaz did, was like coming to different shows. So I went to the Cosmo and House of Soul. And I remember I saw you at Cosmo, I think it was. And you're like, dude, we got the Treehouse, you should come. So there was, a show that I went to. It was one of the last shows of last year. I showed up and was moshing and having fun. And then I saw Austin, and I was plastered. Can I say you're plastered? That's okay. Yeah. Austin was really drunk. And I was like, dude, we should start a band. I know he played drums, and I was at like just talking to him with that, like who he knows, how we could do that. You seemed like iffy. You're like, no. You're like, I might. You didn't seem like you wanted to do it. But then I like messaged you on Instagram or whatever, like reminding you, like, hey, did you want to jam or whatever? And then you sent us the riff to anything, or sent that to me, the riff to anything, what they had recorded, like they probably recorded. You set up your phone, you set up your phone and recorded the riff or whatever.
about that.
Yeah.
Just playing in the dark.
Yeah, they were playing in the dark, they just sent me the riff. So I was like, okay. So I was like, it's pretty cool. So I took the riff and I put it into my DAW, I put it into Reaper on my computer. And I just have lyrics that I wrote months ago, whatever, scratch lyrics that I just pulled up on my phone, grabbed my microphone, recorded some scratch junk over it, and then sent it back. And I was like, yeah, after I sent it, I was like, oh, that sucks so bad. He's going to hate it. That was trash. That was so bad. And he sent like all caps, dude, this is awesome. We're jamming. So I think basically what you were saying, like, we need a singer, I was like, okay, that was like my audition tape. I was like, well, I can show you that I can do it. So I just sent that, and yeah, we got together, we started playing that. That's how I met Chaz and Jake, and yeah, we just started playing here, and
look where it's going.
Yeah, he's also had a really big role at Treehouse the past, like, I don't know, 6 months. And it just means a lot to see us as a band become stronger while also building up Treehouse, because that's kind of what it was at first. It was just a little side thing with Treehouse. But I don't know, it's something that I've like realized. It's just like jamming with people, especially people that you really relate to and like care about. Like I have really connected with like all of them, and it's like been something that I've never really experienced other than like in school and like concert band and stuff. It's cool to feel like a part of something, but when you are creating your own thing and it's very much you, it's very vulnerable and it's very fun to be vulnerable like that, because I don't know, I'm somebody who isn't always that vulnerable when I'm talking to somebody, but just being able to jam with somebody.
Yeah, when it comes to music, we just all kind of open up, and it's 100% self-expression when we play too. We feed off each other. I mean, everything we jam is just, it feels so natural. It comes together. It's just been such a blast to play with you guys.
For sure, yeah. And I come from a background of just being like a sheltered bedroom guitarist and never really never really getting out there. And that's when I kind of broke out of my shell and started coming to these shows. And I'm like being in the mosh pit, I'm like, I gotta be on the other side. I gotta do that.
Yeah.
So that was like first step is get in a band. So
Well, and that's, I mean, it's funny because like the I made a mirror documentary for the venue of the mirror, and it really brought me closer to like why I want to be here. It's like I just want to be a part of the community. You know, Thomas Ostanchek at the end of that said like if you wanna start a band, like all you have to do is play an instrument. If you know how to play, just start one. If you have a house, just start a venue. And I feel like those are words that I really took to heart. And like everything in the past year has just been from kind of that motivation of like I can do it myself. And it's like, you know, you talk about it too. Like this is DIY. We're doing it. We're doing it ourselves. And
yeah,
it's
as
like
far as the venue, I mean, all of our music is recorded by us. You know, we don't really like go to the studio or anything. We just record in my bootleg bedroom, and I feel like it comes out listenable enough. So, yeah, just the whole DIY aspect of it is, it's not as hard as you think. I feel like a lot of people are like, "Oh, I can't do that." Well, my motto is there ain't nothing to it but to do it.
it's true.
It's a good motto.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to say, like, on top of that, it's like I found community that I didn't think I would find, and I met people that I didn't think I would meet or ever be friends with. And then at the same time, it's like me and Hunter actually grew up like 30 minutes away from each other.
Yeah, it's great. And we kind of like knew each other for I don't know years.
We're like mutuals on Instagram, and
Yeah.
never really like were friends.
Yeah.
And then he started popping up at shows, and then all of that happened. It's just really cool because now it's like I don't know. I feel like my connections are all over this area now. Even though, you know, 2 years ago it was just this is Champaign. I don't really know much about it other than it's close to home.
Yeah, now look at it.
Now to me it feels like home. Like this is a place where I have built my like life into what I want it to be going forward. And it's a great place to grow. And I feel like, you know, this band is just I mean, it's named after an Urbana street. So like we love this place, and I feel like it's just there's inspiration just like in the brick on the ground. It's great.
I want to talk about the music. So for you all as a group, did the music start as obviously you didn't jump into this with anything kind of written. Was it just intended to be kind of like a cover band and then it just evolved naturally? Or was there like a moment that sticks out where it was like, fuck it, let's just make our own music?
We definitely had that realization because we definitely wanted to jam and stuff, and like that was like where we found, you know, our passion. But at first it was like, wouldn't it be cool if you could play the song live? Because like again, I'd never played with a band before, so just being able to sit down and be like, I know this song, let me just play it. Um, some of them were like, okay, I said subliminal earlier, trying to sing that on the drums. That was a song we were trying to lean into punk. We did Pictures by System of a Down, which is actually one that we still do.
Yep.
What are the other ones?
We were working on the Helter Skelter,
That's the
the Porcupine Tree song,
Oh, Shallow.
Shallow by
Shallow.
Porcupine Tree. So we were working on, I mean, really when we started, the plan was a few covers, maybe an original or two. But I feel like when we really started jamming, we realized we had so much more potential writing our own music, that we just strayed from the covers so far that, I mean, we rarely do a cover at a show. The only cover we really cover is Pictures.
Yeah.
So I feel like our original plan was, yeah, a couple originals, mainly covers, joke band, house band. And when we realized how well we networked together, we just were like, hey, we should just start writing music. And then it came to, anything was my bass riff, Matt's guitar riff, your drum, like your drum fills all came together. Then you came in and we just started, I mean, when you came in, we just started writing like crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and we've strayed from the covers a lot. It's pretty much entirely original sets now at this point.
Yeah, we like to do like filler covers because sometimes it's just nice as a gap in between something because for a long time we didn't have enough really, so being able to fill those in. But now it's been nice. Like we made like 3 punk songs in like the matter of a week, and like that was really fun because that was a different type of style and type of music that we really haven't really done much of, but it is definitely our inspiration because like anything kind of feels like a punk song, and like I mean, we were playing Subliminal Pictures, like it definitely has that inspiration. But I think right when we first started like messing around with like stuff that's like more jam stuff, I want to mention one that we probably have coming out soon. I don't know if we're gonna release it solo, but like I think it's gonna be on an EP or album whenever we release that. But it's called Frankensteiner. It's one of these songs that when we go back and we want to listen to it and add lyrics, we're like, do we add lyrics? It's that good. And we just like let it speak for itself. And like there's been songs like that where we're just kind of, especially me, I think I don't know. Like I said, I've never been a part of a band like this. So being able to make music that sounds like something I would listen to is like I don't know. It doesn't feel real to me sometimes. It's a really nice experience being able to create something that you yourself would enjoy.
Yeah, I feel like also like once we did anything, like it clicked that it's like, oh, songwriting isn't so hard. It's like because I mean I have my like solo stuff that I've written like as my bedroom guitarist junk. But like once I go in here, I'm like, guys, if we just jam for like 15 minutes and pick out riffs, like that's treating that literally how you write a song. It's not as hard as you think it is. And we just kind of would section demos and I would throw vocals over it. And it's really not as hard as you might think. Especially if you let it come naturally. If you're like trying to force a song out, it's gonna sound like dog water. But if you really are inspired by especially something else, like it's honestly not a bad thing to kind of rip off your favorite artists. Because I mean, not necessarily plagiarizing, but you're like, oh, that riff is kind of sick. I'm gonna inspiration. Yeah, it's like I'll listen to Alice in Chains and I'll go, okay, I like that part. What if I play it backwards and then do this and slow it down and play it in different tuning? It's like, okay, now it's not Alice in Chains anymore. It's I technically stole it, but not in a plagiarizing way.
Well, I mean,
made it mine.
Like that, yeah, that's not plagiarizing because like you're changing it.
Yeah, especially when the drums come in, the bass comes in, the vocals come in. It's like, okay, now we have an actually completely different song. It's like it started as this riff that I technically ripped off, but it evolved into something that we made ours.
Well, like with Frankensteiner, like you're saying, like I'm a massive Tool fan. I'm a prog junkie. I love prog metal. So when it came to Frankensteiner, I just kind of wrote this weird little proggy bass riff, and you started writing drums for it, you started writing guitar, and it just turned into its own thing. And it's cool because I feel like with Frankensteiner, we see all of our own influences coming into that song together. And it's such a unique sound. And like that when we wrote Frankensteiner was when I realized like I do not want to stop doing this. Yeah. So like when we started doing that, I was like, I'm not classically trained. I don't have any music theory knowledge. I picked up a bass one day and started playing. So it's like for these guys to kind of adopt me in the way they did and like accept my weird, funky sounds, self-taught sounds coming in, it's just a really unique sound. And I feel like we when we made Frankensteiner, it kind of solidified the fact that we were not going to stop doing this.
Yeah, for sure. And I also think like kind of to touch on Chet's effect on it. I feel like with Frankensteiner and with many songs, he'll uh he'll bring a he'll bring a perspective to like being a bassist that you don't really catch in other places because it's like sometimes he'll jump in and like have the spotlight as a bassist and it's like so awesome to see him just like rip with Frankensteiner and that's like a bass song, you know, like guitar and drums are the backing track for a bass part and I just found it so cool that I don't know we can kind of give him that platform because like you said despite being not trained musically at all like it just you can like music it's a thing that you can feel and it's like you don't have to necessarily go to school or really put your life to it to be a part of that and that's something you know like me I didn't think that I would get back into music I was in school did drumline and all that but like being able to just delve back into it is something that I'm really grateful to have and like I don't know seeing other people just completely explode in terms of like their skill just from being around and just practicing and practicing and practicing and playing as much as possible. It just has we've gone very far.
You talked a lot about how it's unique to create in this space with everyone. And you mentioned how the process has kind of gone where it's each of you is kind of bringing your own part to each of these new pieces that you write. Is that pretty typical for how the process works, or is it variant of like maybe Hunter brings lyrics before anything, or Jake brings a riff, and then, or is there like a set order that you guys like to go in?
It's varied. I definitely want to hear Jake's perspective on this, but I will just say from my perspective, hearing like Hunter bring in lyrics and he was like, okay, here's what I got with this. Can we come up with something? That's one way to do it. But 90% of the time, it's we jam something out and he adds lyrics that he has had.
Yeah, typically the music vice versa. It'll be like me coming up with a riff, or Jake coming up with a riff, or sometimes it'll even be like a whole section where Chaz comes up with a riff. And then we just kind of all cram it in like puzzle pieces.
Yeah, it always ends up as like a jam turning into like at the end of the jam, we're like, guys, that's a song.
Yeah,
And then we clip it, we record every time we jam.
Yeah.
So we record every practice session. So if we come up with something new, we have a way to listen back to it. And I feel like 90% of the time that is exactly what we do. We jam, we get done jamming, and we're like, guys, that's a song.
yeah.
So we go back there, we clip it, we start something new, and then we work on it from that point.
Yeah, like for at my house, how I have, like I said, my doll, and I can just put music here into it. It's typically, like I said, like puzzle pieces. You kind of just take the riffs and put them in there, and then you've got like your basic foundation. And when we come and play, we're like, okay, does that feel right? Do we want to shorten this, make this longer? Where do we want the words at? Is this a bridge? That type of thing. It's like
I am interested in Jake's perspective on this stuff. What do you think,
Sure.
Jake?
I mean, I think it's such a unique situation. I don't know if this is like on the record as of now, but the three of them kind of live pretty locally. And I used to live down in Champaign, but I don't anymore. I live in Joliet. So I live, over
Hey, J-Town.
Yeah. So it's an interesting perspective because it's like everyone does each of their part of them. They keep rehearsing, basically every week. They send me when they have like demos or just like snippets from the practice sessions. Like here's a new song, or even Hunter has been like, hey guys, I wrote this song. Let's here's a demo of it. And then I do the same. It's like, okay, here's basically a whole song, and it's like, let's see what we can do it when we all put our minds together. It's all stuff like that.
Well, I love that too because both Hunter and Jake do this thing where it's like you said, it's like here's a whole song, and it's like I can hear where I would want to be different, and then when we get together, I'm like, hey, this is what I would add to this, and it's like okay,
yeah. They'll ask like if in that instance, if I write a whole song, they'd be like, is it okay if I play this here? I'm like, dude, you don't have to ask.
Yeah,
literally play whatever you want. I wrote the song with my flair. I don't want it for people to be my flair. This isn't like a solo project. This is me laying out the foundation, and you guys put the flair on it.
And I feel like every song we've written has given all of us a good chance to shine. There's always there's always drum fills that catch my eyes from Austin. There's always riffs or solos from Hunter or Jake that I catch, and there's moments where I can jam on the bass for a second, get a little solo by. I feel like all of us really do put our minds together. We all make sure that all four influences are included in almost every song we write.
I think a good example of kind of how we write and it's kind of affecting how we practice is we've written we've recently written a song called "Burn It Out," and I feel like that song is really great. And he made an awesome demo with like all of the parts, including like drum parts and bass parts, and it was a great jumping off point. But every time we would practice, I would get like lost in the center. I'm like, why am I doing this? And it's just because Jake's part is not happening in person. And then every time we have practiced and he's there, it's like, okay, immediately I got it perfect. And it's cool to have that kind of chemistry because that's something I've been scared of. Like I'm not a very confident like musician. Like I'm very uneasy about how I am. And sometimes I'll panic and sometimes I'll be like, that was bad. And then they'll be like, I didn't even hear what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah. The art of that, like I said to him, the art of live music is recovering from your mistakes. Like if you make some, we've never made a detrimental mistake where we have to like completely stop the song. Like, oh my god, what did we do, guys? Until that guy fell on your pedal. Until we stopped the song one time because the guy fell into my whole pedal board and unplugged everything. But besides that,
Well, and it's funnily enough, right before that happened,
He spearheaded your drum kit.
the same guy just like did a cannonball onto my drum kit.
Yeah.
And I just kept playing still.
yeah, the art is recovering. So if we're able to recover, that's just a piece of the ship. It's part of the fun.
Well, and I just love how we approach it all because like afterwards, I'm like, damn, I fucked up there, and they're like, it's whatever, man.
Yeah. Fix it next time.
We don't have to. Yeah, we don't put this pressure on ourselves. It's like,
We know we're new.
yeah, well, it's all it's
We're gonna
just,
make mistakes.
we're also friends.
Everybody makes mistakes.
You know?
Exactly. So we don't put it against each other either.
And I just love it. It's a very positive feeling, and it just that goes into the music, and it's not hard to make a new song because everyone's willing to listen to everyone's like input and ideas. So yeah,
It's always awesome hearing the creative process behind all of this music that's coming out of Central Illinois. And I don't know, I feel like this is the quintessential experience, like being able to collaborate like this with between the four of you and make something that you all feel is equally your own is really amazing. I want to take this time to kind of get into your first release, Anything. We've kind of mentioned it a couple times. Came out March 7th. It's on all streaming platforms. Be sure to go listen to it because you're going to love it. But kind of take me through this one. The main thing that I love, and I had a conversation with Hunter recently, and I told him is the effect on the vocal. And I think the audience would love to hear what that took to put that on there.
yeah, because we'll just honestly the way that recording goes, we just go, we play it, and then Hunter's like, all right, let me cook.
Yes.
And then we don't hear about it until he sends something in the chat.
Yeah, usually we play as a band because I like capturing like us playing as a band. Like we could do like drum part on its own, then go to the next thing, then go to the next thing. But I like when all of us, especially when Jake's in town, when we're all in my room, and we just lay out everything, listen to it back. We go, okay, we're gonna fix that, we're gonna fix that, we're gonna fix that, whatever. But yeah, they came over, threw that all down. For the vocals, for Christmas from my homie Rody. His name's William, but we nicknamed him Rody because he carries my amp sometimes. He comes to all the shows and he's awesome dude. For Christmas he bought me a telephone with an XLR on the end. So you just take the old style telephone and just plug it into your interface, and literally all it is. It's just it's just a telephone with like slapback delay on it. And I'm just screaming into it like a crazy man. It was probably like 2 a.m. when I did it.
Well, like
probably asleep. So.
Anything started with, because that was the first thing we ever jammed. I feel like we were all just kind of sitting down here, and it was you, me, and Matt at the time. And I just kind of whipped out a bass riff, and I was like, all right, let's do something with this. You started playing drums, Matt started playing guitar, and that's kind of how Anything was born. it was just a basement jam sesh for a couple minutes, and we're like, hey, we're kind of cooking right now, and it just evolved into anything.
I do want to give credit to Matt Berry.
He wrote the main
Pickies.
riff.
Matt's Pickies on Instagram. He is one of the coolest photographers in the scene. It's funny because he's like, I don't know, I'm a photographer and I call myself that, and that's like all I put my life into. He's like an auteur in the way of his photography. Like he'll be very like, hey, this is not anything cool, but he does some cool stuff. And again, with this, like he inspired us to make this song, and like he had a part in this. And that's what I love about all of this, just being able to, I don't know, have a community that has that input and impact. And Matt has definitely, he's just as much a part of the beginning of this band as any of us.
Absolutely.
I guess to get back on the topic of the recording process, yeah, how we got together, threw down the main track, and then our homie Jake here, who lives in another country, we sent him. He's got his own little recording setup, so I can just send him the stems, and then he just layers it on top, and sends it back to me, and then I just mix it.
Yeah, we send it by mail.
Yeah. We send it's a QR code we send by mail. He's just getting it
Send it by carrier pigeon.
Yeah. He's got his little guitar recording setup. So yeah, we just lay down the foundation. He layers on with some Jake sauce, and sends it back. We do some fairy magic, and then
a song comes out, and then it appears on Spotify. We don't actually do anything to put it on there. Just like comes out.
Yeah, song comes out after 30 mixing revisions. And I'm like, does this sound better? Does this sound better? And I'm the only one that can tell the difference.
It's like mix 17.
It's like mix 17 final version, and they're like, dude, it sounds the exact same. It's like tweaking like a decibel compression, putting more slapback reverb, scooping the mid from the guitar. It's like stupid stuff that I'm just like insane about it.
It sounds good though.
Yeah.
We do joke like about that, but one thing that he did add recently in the mixing is like the guitar part at the end, and he every time we play it live fails to remember when that happens.
Yeah. I wrote it to record it and never rehearsed it, so I'm like, oh yeah, I put that in there, and then I don't have to play it live. So
you got it last time.
I got it last time.
You got it last time.
In rehearsal, I messed it up, and then at the show, I got it.
But I thought it was really cool. It was one of those things I was like, whoa, this feels different. And honestly, at first, like when I first heard it, I was like, I don't know if I like this. But now when I listen to that song, I'm like, I kind of wish it was in more of it. It's like
anything also used to just be just that straight riff.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing all the way through.
But when you came around, you were like, hey, I can jazz that up a little bit. We have that halftime section. Yeah. We have solos. It jazzed everything up so much more, and it opened up so many more opportunities to change the song around, to be like, okay, we have little things in there that are going to catch people's ears. They're going to be like, oh, I like that, or oh, I like that sound.
Yeah.
And so we didn't want it to just be that straight through riff. We had to add some spice in there, and I feel like your addition at the end, and you and Jake's solos, like anything has come together. So I'm just really proud of that track.
Oh yeah, the solo there first either. It's like,
yeah, I'm really inspired by, music production and recording in itself is an art form. So I'm really inspired by Butch Vig, who did Nevermind by Nirvana, and Siamese Dream by Smashing Pumpkins. I think like a loose quote from him is, you have like the live version of songs, but when you record it, you're basically putting the songs in like on widescreen, like HD. So there's things that I like to do to kind of spice them up from a recording perspective that we can't necessarily do live, as far as like layering guitars, layering vocals, putting drum samples over the drum. So we have Austin's snare hit, and then there's also another drum hitting at the same time to make it a little bigger. Just like little things that you can do to, like I said, make the song widescreen, high definition, however you want to do it, or whatever you're thinking at the time. Like, oh, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? Just all that experimenting.
Yeah, it's been, hearing how excited you are just to talk about the song. I feel like a fangirl, like talking about it, because this is literally has been a conversation so much with the people like that I like, Monarch, like the bands that I work with, my team. I'm like, God, anything is such a good fucking song. I love it so much.
Thank you so much.
The
That does mean a lot. We appreciate that.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we
for sure.
kind of don't take it. We don't take ourselves very seriously.
Yeah.
Like, even when we play, like
Yeah, I listen to it so much mixing it, I don't even want to hear it ever again.
yeah.
Well, when you're on version 27, I guess
Oh,
that'll
yeah,
have that much, right?
I'm analyzing my vocals, and I'm not doing anything to make it sound better.
You don't want to hear anything you say.
Yeah, I don't want to hear anything I say.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
So the word on the street is that you, Hunter, you sing into a telephone to get your vocal that way. Kind of talk about that.
Yeah, so my homie Brody bought me a little telephone with the XLR on the end that you can just plug straight into the interface, and that's all it is. Now it's not crazy technology. It's literally just an old school telephone with an XLR. You can just plug it right in, and there's press right there and screen into it. It does magic.
Really did. That's what. Oof. Man, I just love the song. God. Okay, I'm gonna stop fangirling now. Ethan, cut some of the fangirling, please. Make me sound not like a fool. Well, with anything coming out last month, and hearing that you guys are working on new stuff, what's the next step for West Nevada in your eyes?
I would say definitely just the release of the first EP. We've got 6 to 7 songs all written out, and they just need mixed, mastered, go through, make sure we're happy with them, and the next step is going to be just dropping that small EP and getting our name out there, and
we
working on future shit.
we really haven't talked much about it like as a full band, but like me and Hunter had an aside recently. It's like we have enough songs. I don't know if necessarily an EP's like
We could just drop an album.
Yeah, just drop the whole album.
Potentially.
and like I like that too, because if we drop that, that means we don't have to keep pushing that music. We can move on and do something else. And that's going to be really cool once we finally get to that milestone. Because, like you said, with anything, it's out, and it makes me so happy to like see it out in the wild. But we have so much that we want to share that we haven't yet, and so much that we have been working on for almost the same amount of time that we have been share. So it's
And with
Getting close.
the recording process, I feel like we didn't realize how quick we were going to be writing new music. We kind of figured, oh, this is going to take a minute. We're going to write one song, focus on it, write another song, focus on it. No, we have just like in the past few months, we've just been constantly writing new sounds, new music, new backbones for new songs, and it's almost overwhelming how much we've been able to come up with lately.
to the point where we forget songs.
Yeah, exactly. And so to the point where we're like, oh shit, we wrote that already, or oh shit, that's a song we've already done. Like we need to get that put out, and we just realized like, okay, we have a lot more potential than we ever thought we were going to have. And the way our crowds have reacted to our sets, the way shows have gone, people have shown us nothing but love for anything we played. I think we finally realized like, yeah, this started as a joke band, but we have a lot that we can put out, and we're not going to stop. We're just going to keep going.
Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
I feel like adding on to that, like, yeah, that passion is just like, okay, we're ready to just do all of this, because it's like we have so much out there. Also, I was saying something I wanted to bring up was, we are the Treehouse House Band, so like we definitely kind of get our gigs from that, but we've been able to kind of branch out recently, and it's been great. And I think one of the main things that has helped us with that was we had Hardcore Fest, our yearly like hardcore festival here at Treehouse, and it went great. But we were on the bill for one of them, and we're not really a hardcore band, so we kind of took it upon ourselves to write stuff that would be in that style, and that led to something that we never thought would really like come to fruition. And it's Chad doing vocals for some of our songs, and it's something that's like so out of left field in terms of our style, but definitely all of us like love this kind of music. It's just not something that we've done much of, but it just like we have described ourselves like prog adjacent, and I think we have kind of kept up with that with our normal compositions, but we are willing to be so flexible that jumping on a hardcore bill and trying to be more of a punky band has just been something that has driven us to write stuff that we wouldn't normally write, or sounds that we wouldn't normally sound like. And I really liked that because Chad's vocals, there's nothing online for it. Yeah, actually, there's a reel.
There is one.
If you go,
There's one.
yeah. Shout out Rick's Picks, great videographer, fantastic Seymour videographers of the Champaign scene. But he took a great video of us playing Hardcore Fest. Was that?
It was Ice Age.
Yeah.
Hardcore
So
Fest.
yeah, we were playing our song Ice Age, and that was just, it was so surreal. And I know Chaz has watched that video
So many times.
It's just cool to see him do his thing, because like when he gets that microphone, he just gets about 3,000 times more confident. Because Hunter will be up there on stage and be like, "Hey guys, how's it going?"
Yeah, I'm like scared for the first 2 songs, and then
Then he gets into it.
Yeah.
Chad,
But I was like, all right. I'm like, is everybody as pissed off as I am?
Chad's this song's coming at the end, so he's warmed up and ready to go. I'm like, I walk up there and everybody's just standing there staring at me. I'm like, oh, this is weird. I'm scared.
And
But then once I get into it,
just being somebody who grew up with metalcore, melodic metalcore, death metal, those were my influences growing up. I started with 70s, 80s rock and hair metal, and then it kind of transitioned into like moving in with my uncle, where I heard nothing but like Amon Amarth, As I Lay Dying, Lamb of God, all those heavy metalcore, melodic metalcore bands. So I started mimicking those vocals at a super young age and just kind of worked my way into doing them. And when I met these guys, we were like, "Hey, we're playing a hardcore bill in 2 weeks." I'm like, well, I can do vocals. So we just kind of wrote those 2 songs. We whipped them up in like 2 weeks, man. And they sound great in my opinion. And I cannot wait to put them out, because that kind of music is probably my biggest influence. My family comes from Virginia. I have a really strange like bluegrass folk music background. I'm a 4th generation banjo player. Moved here, picked up the bass, picked up vocals, picked up guitar. It's been such an interesting, just an eclectic group of instruments for me to play. And with these guys, I can play any of those instruments and still feel comfortable writing music. Because we have music out with the banjo that we just haven't focused on or released yet. So,
well, and that's something, yeah. Like Chad's bringing the banjo. That's a TTBTB thing.
Yeah.
I want to bring into West Nevada that we really haven't done much of yet. Because at the end of our sets, like our live sets, he would pull out a banjo and we would do like crazy rock bluegrass stuff. Like we had one that was like a Halloween song because we were playing like,
it was so fun.
and it's just
so
it's
fun.
like that stuff I would love to get back to, but we got so busy with all of this other music that we're just that's coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Kind of a good problem to have, having so much music that you forget about the other stuff, or you got to get back to the other stuff.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like our inspirations, I'm glad you kind of brought that up, because like we do kind of have the differences in inspirations, but it brings so much to the table. Like me and Hunter definitely bonded over like King Giz and like psychedelic rock, but I know that's not squarely where he comes from, and I come from, like he said, more like an 80s rock, and then I leaned into like 2000s like indie and alternative. Like that was my kind of thing. But like King Giz and like OCs and all of that.
Well, and Jake, you have more of a metal background too, don't you?
Yeah, definitely more like metal, and then like old school kind of prog stuff, Rush, King Crimson, stuff like that.
Do
A lot of
not,
It's
metal.
cool to see all that come together, and like whatever this weird little fusion is we have going on, like it works.
do not ask Jake about Creed. He will talk your ear off about Creed.
Love Creed.
Or sing your ear
Good.
off.
Well, we're getting towards the end of the interview, and Austin, you may remember, but I normally ask 2 questions, but the 2 questions are like, what do you like most about the community? But you guys are so ingrained in the community. I'm not going to ask you because I know your answer. It's the people, it's being around all these creative folks, and like that's the result of or the end result of that was West Nevada. So I'm not going to ask you that one. Also, you guys see so many bands down there. I want to kind of ask the second one, but I have this initial question because we were talking about influences. Being in Central Illinois, and a lot of you guys like you said, were showgoers before you became a band. How have the bands in the scene or the bands that you've seen at house shows influenced you beyond like the big names like you were just talking about?
Well, I know you said beyond the big names, but I do want to just give one shout out again to Stand Check, because they really brought me into the scene with what they've done at the Mirror. And again, Thomas in that documentary saying exactly, you know, hey, start a band. Like, it's that simple. Just do it. And, you know, they were already were super talented. So just hearing that and just getting that push is kind of what I needed to get into it. But in terms of like actual like inspirations as musicians outside of that, I will say definitely recently, and I'm glad that I just mentioned King Gizzard, because us three actually have saw a band very recently that I think are mind blowing, and I just want to give them a shout out. They're called K Zone, and they're very much like King Gizzard inspired, 10-minute songs, crazy time signature.
Oh, it's awesome.
And it just was like, I was at the sewer and I was watching them, and you know, I hadn't played my drums all day. I hadn't had any like motivation to want to. My girlfriend was over. I was hanging out with her. I was watching them play, and I wanted to go home and play music. Like I just wanted to go home and make stuff like that. It's something that honestly, like, I'm around like see musicians a lot. So sometimes it's like I can appreciate your music, but I don't get like necessarily super pumped or inspired by a certain song. But that one was like, wow. And it happens at Treehouse all the time. So I'll let them like say who they're inspired by. But Treehouse is definitely a great way to just learn about bands and learn what you like about bands, what you want to add to yours.
Well, like for me, I'm going to piggyback off that and say Stand Check. Stand Check was at my first few shows when I came in. I moved here in 2019, worked in construction, didn't know anything about the scene, wasn't playing music at the time. And I had a friend when I got involved with my current work. She was like, "Hey, you want to go to a house show?" And I was like, "The fuck is a house show?" I'm from like an 800-person town. There's nothing. There's no scene. It's work, go to school, move away. So when I moved up here, it was such a culture shock that there was so much here to do. And my friend Maddie at the time, she was like, "Hey, you got to go to a show." I was like, "The fuck is a show?" So she took me to the powder room. I saw Emily Howe, thought she was incredible, was absolutely obsessed. And then moving forward, went and saw Godzilla Nether Portal. I saw Bum Rush, and then I saw Stand Check. When I saw Stand Check, I'm a prog junkie. I'm a massive Tool fan. So I saw Stand Check, and I was like, this is the sound I'm looking for. Yeah. So I took a lot of inspiration from them, the slow down, the big rises, those big hits and big moments on the drums, those progressive guitar and bass lines. I thought that shit was so incredible to me that I was like, oh man, I gotta get back into music. So I went and bought my Stingray, started playing bass again, and then met these fools. And I was like, all right, let's start a band, dude. I got a bass again. So Stand Check, I would say, out of the local scene is my biggest influence.
Yeah, to build on that, I'm fortunate to be, every week almost, there's insane bands here. And it's almost like, the inspiration is almost like demon possession. I'll go home and I'm like, dude, those guys were freaking insane. And I'll just want to write, like I said earlier, I want to rip them off. So I'll just like steal some element from them. Like, like broken demeanors here. I'm like, oh my God. I'll go home and I'm like, okay, there's certain elements that I want, like I said, rip off. And you'll listen to it and you're like, that sounds nothing like a broken demeanor song. But what I gathered from it is like my interpretation. That and like Monarch, like I'll see Blaine and I'm like, his fuzz tone's insane. I'm like, dude, I want something like that. Or like you mentioned Stand Check, and I'm like, their amps are massive. It's like I want to do something like that. And it's always, whether I'm intending on it or not, some part of the band's that weekend is going to bleed into the songwriting. Like, especially if I hop down here to mosh, it just kind of hits you a certain way where you want to go home and you put that down onto a recording. Yeah, like I said, you be quiet. Like
Ethan, do the wasted thing from GTA for Austin.
That's the perfect description of our dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, having so many different unique bands. I mean, it's typically rooted in like grungy punk style stuff, but like we'll have, like he mentioned, K Zone, and there was another band, Infinite Cousins, like on a psychedelic night. And I've got like, not to go too far off topic, but I've got a few different outlets of writing, and if it doesn't fit in West Nevada, I throw it into that bucket. It's just the inspiration's everywhere. The music is just in my noggin nonstop, and it stays there until it's like a scab. You got to get it.
He's too proud to say it, but shout out Ethan Orange. He makes it himself solo. He actually has a song that's coming out. It came out today, actually, right?
No, it came out Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday.
Two on Bandcamp and then one just services, right?
So it was on Bandcamp exclusive. Now, as of Tuesday, it's out on everything. And shout out to Austin. The music video is on the 28th. The song sucks. The music video is awesome.
The song does not suck.
I want to hear from Jake though. I want to know.
Yes, please.
What are your
My influences? Sure. I mean, I remember I've been in the scene way longer than I gave myself credit for. I just didn't. I don't know. I was there with some people that I'm not such big friends with as I was back then. So I think it's just like trying to unintentionally trying to distance myself. I have no hate to those people, but those are the people who started getting me to shows. I mean, I learned recently that I was at Chaz's first show and we didn't know, we didn't talk to each other, which is a really strange coincidence like that.
Chaz is online too. Yeah.
Yeah. But like all the other guys, Stand Check, Bum Rush, those are the first few that I saw. I think other ones. A lot of like the Blono and Peoria bands. I like Mulch a lot. I like Heaving a lot. Those are some of my favorite. More Central Illinois, rather than CU. But all of these local people that I've seen, within an hour of where I was living. Those are the people I think of. I'm like, oh yeah, they're coming to town. I have to go to this show. That was how I could tell. It's like, all right, they're here. I'm gonna be there.
Hell yeah. I also want to bring up one of the biggest tragedies of Champaign-Urbana, and that is Kangaroo Court. They moved up to Chicago and have not had a show in like 6 months, and I'm so sad because they are easily probably my favorite band that has come out of this area. And like, as a Gibbs fan, as somebody who loves K-Zone, like they lean into the heavier, like Gibbs sound, but something about Kangaroo Court is a mix of that like alternative kind of heavier rock that with like the psychedelic, and they just nail it every time. Every single one of their songs on their album that they have is just amazing. Like that's like you play all of them kind of album.
I did just remember one that before I even bought my bass, my Stingray, before I even had another bass, I went to a Mirror show and I saw Lollygagger.
Oh yeah.
And their bass player is insane. And I just remember being up front and just locking eyes on that bass guitar the whole set. And when I left that show, if I'm not mistaken, 2 days later, I went to the music shop here in Champaign and bought my Stingray. And I was like, I've got to get back into playing bass because that was insane. And that's really what ignited the whole thing, to be honest.
That's like the inspiration being like demon possession. It controls you to do things that you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah, I saw them play and I was like, I forgot who I am. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to go buy a bass again.
I will say just for like editing purposes, in that Mirror documentary, there is shots of that bass player doing the exact.
Oh, he's incredible.
And it's crazy. So if you have time, if like he has time to like look through that shot is crazy, and I'm loving.
I love those guys, man. Lollygagger is definitely one of my biggest when it came to inspiring me to get back into music. I won't say I adopted their sound very much. He plays extremely fast. For me, I need to work up that skill level, but that's what got me back into just playing music in general, was seeing those guys. And I was like, and seeing the smiles on the band's faces when they're playing shows, seeing how excited those guys are to always like be playing a show, and the crowd interactions. Like, probably my favorite thing has been the crowd interactions. And I just like, when I saw that happening at shows, I was like, I want to be part of that. Like, I want to be the person making people smile. So I just was like, I'm going to buy a bass. I'm going to start a band. And then I bumped into these guys. Here we are.
I was gonna say, kind of speaking of crowd reactions, that's something that I also find interesting because, like, sometimes when I'm playing, I don't even think about looking up, or I don't intend to like miss it, but I don't see people dancing and moshing and poor stuff. But every now and then, I have those moments of clarity where I look forward and just see a room full of people moving to our music, and that is
It's an incredible feeling.
very powerful feeling, and
It's so awesome.
it's what drives us forward. And
Yeah.
we've been lucky to be able to kind of expand beyond Treehouse, and that's kind of our goal going into summer is maybe doing some sort of tour of some sort and getting out of Illinois, even if that could
For a couple days, maybe.
yeah, for 300 years or permanent tour. That's gonna happen.
Dude, it's a never-ending Bob Dylan.
Yeah. You just have 4 farewell tours. But yeah, that's definitely something that's pushing us forward, is just being able to go and play at shows where we don't have a guaranteed crowd. And nonetheless, we have a crowd that is there and engaged, because that means a lot. And that was the kind of the reason we did TTBTB, was so that when we wanted to actually try playing in front of people, it wasn't as much pressure as getting a bill and then having to actually perform and really impress people.
And now it's turned into us going to like the hardcore show a couple weeks ago where we played at IMC with Pat and the Pissers, Macroplastics, Reject. And that was something really out of our genre that we're not used to. And people still loved what we did. They were still moving to our music. So that right there, I think, gave us a lot of motivation to just keep moving forward and expanding, because we've gotten so used to just playing here in Urbana, like at Treehouse or at, we play Junkyard, just local shows. Go to IMC, it's a whole different kind of crowd for a hardcore show. So it just made us realize, like, okay, our music makes people move, and that's a really cool fucking thing. And then we networked with those bands. They were interested in bringing us to other cities. And they're like, you guys can branch out, no problem. And that gave us, I think, that motivation to start moving forward, and really gave us, we don't have to stay here. We can start branching out and see where this could go.
Well, I also want to mention, with Pat and the Pistons being on that bill, it felt like a full circle moment for me, because I was, at the Mirror when we were shooting that documentary, Totally Cash was playing, and I just remembered recalling after we got on the bill with Pat and the Pistons that, in that video, he's wearing a Pat the Fisher shirt. I had never heard of that band. I'd never seen it before. I was like, why does this name sound so familiar? And it's just cool to see. It's like that band made an impact enough on that band that they bought their shirt and wore it to a show. And then
we played with them.
I get to play with them 2 years down the line. We get to play with them. And it's just like,
it's a super cool moment.
Mind blowing to me.
Super cool. I never would have thought that I'd have that kind of opportunity.
A lot of really, really great stuff going on for our friends in West Nevada. Sadly, that was my final question. Thank you guys for chatting all about this creative process, this project, anything. Oh my God, a fangirl for another second. Ethan, cut it if it gets too long. But man, can't say how much I love it just enough. If you have not listened to anything by West Nevada, do yourself a favor, go out. It's available on all DSPs. Go stream it. You won't regret it. And get excited for whatever kind of music they have coming up. Thank you guys so much again. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us, dude. This is an awesome opportunity.
Thanks so much, sir.
Absolutely. But just like that, that's our show. You've been hanging out with Clubhouse Chronicles, where the sounds are hot, the stories are hotter, and the vibes absolutely off the charts. Don't forget, hit us up on Instagram at ClubChronPod for all the updates, news, and more on this podcast. Yes, we took a big break, but we're coming back. We've had a couple interviews lined up and more hopefully coming. So be sure to stay tapped in. We announce all the new releases in the Central Illinois and beyond every week. So you can check out our list. We have various content coming out. So just you're going to want to be there. For all things Broken Record Music Club related, we're over at Broken Record Music Club across all socials for you to check out our artists and other cool things we're up to. Got a lot of cool projects that just came out. Jenny Scara just dropped a project. We had Motus Band just drop their sophomore album, and we're rolling into some pretty big announcements coming up soon. So stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss those. If you're watching on YouTube, huge thank you. Please make sure, if you have the sec, subscribe, like the video. It really does good things for the algorithm and pushes bands like Nevada out into a wider audience. So this 2-second thing that you can do has an impact on your local music scene. So if you could do that, that would be so great. Definitely keep local bands in circulation. Let the world know that Central Illinois is the place to be. You have that power. All right, now I'm done with my marketing spiel. Until next time, keep it loud, keep it proud, and remember, Central Illinois is where the music magic happens. Peace.
Bye.